I'd like to narrate along as Pete Hegseth. He's been through hell and back these last couple of months. Lied about, slandered, criticized. Let's go. Can we go full screen and keep my mic on? Because I'm having. Diff, thank you very much. So that is Pete around friends and family. I know. There's Arthur Schwartz. I know him. There is Mike Walls there. Pete taking pictures, kind of like a celebrity, if you will. And Pete just got done with one of the hardest things that you can do. Oh, so this is what Pete is doing right now. Pete is saying hello and thanking all the veterans that were there in support of him today. By the way, what a sigh of relief Pete can have right now. It is very difficult because the Democrats on that committee were intentionally provoking him. It was an intentional provocation campaign. Intentional. And Pete handled it beautifully. It was a masterclass by Pete Hegseth, attacking his marital life, his personal decisions, whether or not he has a drinking problem. And hold on a second. First of all, the military is not exactly the place of sobriety. I don't drink, not a fan of it, but it's not a moral issue. However, it's all in the past. No person is ever rising above what the demons of their past are. So that is completely and totally unfair. He was measured. He didn't take the bait. He's a true patriot. And there is the Senate hearing room where this all took place. And according to all sources that I have, it's now going to go to a committee vote, which will probably pass on pure partisan lines. We're watching you, Joni Ernst. By the way, did you notice how boring Joni Ernst's questions were? You notice how how non-dramatic, how tempered Joni Ernst's questions were? She flew a little bit too close to the sun. She didn't want to get Rona'd. And now Joni Ernst is Pete Hegseth's biggest fan. And honestly, I got to give credit for the foreign flag wearer, Roger Wicker. I mean, it was just ridiculous wearing the Ukrainian flag. He handled the committee really well. I got to give him credit for that. The whole Ukrainian flag thing is just ridiculous, but I got to give him credit. He handled it like a gentleman. He stood up against the left, that ridiculous co-chair that he has in the Democrats, the Cooper or whatever his name is. I can never remember that guy's name. It's so forgettable. Jack Reed. Jack Reed, it sounds like he's like a federal agent. Jack Reed. Just feels made up. Senator Reed. He just says, yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for coming. He didn't want to turn this into a long-standing melodrama. Long-standing, unnecessary issue. So he just said, okay, thanks so much, and that's it. Pete Hegseth's hearing is over. It's going to now go to a committee vote and then a floor vote, which means Pete Hegseth can assume the duties as the Secretary of Defense likely as soon as Monday or Tuesday. Let me repeat that. Pete Hegseth can assume the duties of becoming the Secretary of Defense on Monday afternoon or Tuesday afternoon. So here's what happens. They did their advise and consent. They're going to do a committee vote, and then they have to hold, I think, the floor vote. So President Trump gets sworn in. He says, so help me God, in 5 days and 22 hours and 5 minutes, 5 days, 22 hours. President Donald Trump goes to the outer room of the Capitol. It's called the signing room, and he signs the nominations. Pete Hegseth, Scott Bessent, Doug Burnham, Kash Patel. He signs all these nominations. And then the Senate will pick it up that afternoon. And that afternoon, Pete Hegseth can then get in a motorcade and ride right into the Pentagon. And Pete Hegseth can then that evening around 7 or 8 at night get to his desk as the head of the Secretary of Defense and start signing executive orders. Not executive orders, but memorandums. Only the president can sign executive orders. No more wokeism, none of this nonsense, CRT. So by 8:30 or 9 p.m. on this coming Monday evening, wokeism will be on its way out of the military. Of course, there's going to be a lot of excommunication of these demons that have to happen. But the military should not be a sociological experiment. The focus should be on lethality and meritocracy. Pete Hegseth understands the mission statement of the military should be to protect our national interests and kill the enemy without apology. Do so quickly. We are not a nation-building operation. We are not an infrastructure organization. We are not a sociological experiment operation. It is about protecting the homeland and killing the enemies. Lethality, meritocracy, integrity, and fidelity to the nation. Well done, Pete Hegseth. We're behind you 100%. We have been in the trenches fighting for you, and it looks as if, according to all reporting, you are now on a glide path to become the Secretary of Defense. And if anybody votes against you, there will be a primary challenge visiting your state soon. Mark that down and take it to the bank. So vote accordingly.